Ugh.
So real quick, I got something to read to y'all. So check this out. My girlfriend's brother, let's call him Ryan.
All right.
He watched our. He used to do a lot of what would it be called? Announcer. He was like the announcer for WWE.
Let's
Kinda
call
stuff?
him Ryan. Is that not his name?
No,
Or,
it's not.
or is
But
his name? Let's call him Ryan. Like all in
Are
quotes.
we not allowed to know?
no. It's fine. It's just Ryan North was his stage name, so that's what we call him.
Okay.
So
Oh,
yeah. So anyway,
okay, that makes sense now.
So he would do like the announcement for like WWE wrestling, like not
Right.
professional, but anyway, he watched it and he just had a few things to talk about, and he analyzed our last podcast. So this is what he said.
Oh.
He's
Oh
like,
God, no!
he's like,
That's awesome.
I love a good / funny cold open. It was really good. Musical theme was different, but not in a bad way, from typical game type shows, like 8-bit noise or metal. He says Jose, and he meant Jesse here.
All right,
sure his name.
Jose.
He says Jose.
Ole!
Not sure of his name. Si, senor. Does an excellent job of presenting his points, where he gives you a visual of what he's talking about, as well as he talks to you guys like he's talking to you, even though he's really talking to the audience. Very well spoken and very great. So he's like, he also has a very distinct voice, which helps. You and Mike, which he's like, again, can't remember his name.
Mike?
He's talking about Nick.
Oh, I'm Mike now. All right. Welcome to After the
Play the
Hype
tr-
with Jose and Mike.
Welcome to After the Hype with Jose and Mike. We're joined by Cade and his piece of shit brother-in-law.
Future brother-in-law. He's like, you and Mike, can't remember his name, play the straight men with good added insight. You guys put out a good portion of content and played off of what Jose was giving you. He's like, I stopped at the hour. I stopped at the hour mark, so I didn't finish. You all kept my attention, and that's what's important. The structure was there, from my vantage point, without you guys getting off topic. But it's all right to get off topic as long as it can be looped back to the points you were trying to make, which you did. Good show. So
That's awesome.
And that's-
Fuck,
Alright.
dude. I've never had my shit, because like I said, I've done this before, and I learned what did and didn't work. I've never had my shit reviewed by a professional. That actually means a lot to me, Kate, that you did that and related that to me.
hell yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool considering I
Okay.
just haven't done this before, and I
Okay.
was going for ham.
Give that guy my number. If he ever has any voice actor work he needs.
I wanted to wait until this before I brought that up, Nick. So if you're wondering why I was withholding it, I just wanted us to be together when I shared that.
I didn't know you were withholding anything.
Reunited and it feels so good.
Anyway,
One
Alright, so what's-
thing.
sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah. One thing that we didn't do at the opening of last time is we didn't exactly explain what the show was about, and that was on me because I was really excited to get started. So I'll be sure to do that again. If I'm still hosting After the Hype as it is, Nick.
Yeah, we wanted to split that so it wasn't me confusing everybody every single time.
Right.
All right, so before we start recording or anything, what exactly, what games are we talking about tonight? Other than No Man's
My
Sky.
understanding that we're talking about No Man's Sky. which is
We're
what you
talking
really
about No
like.
Man's
I think
Sky. I want to go over Persona 5 because I just want to tell everybody how awesome it is. Yeah, without getting into any story, like, at all. I'm just going to talk about, like,
Right.
mechanics, what you can expect, like, gameplay-wise, and then just
Right,
fucking
that's
go
what
for
I'm
it.
what I'm very interested in hearing about because it just looks like Persona 4 to me.
It,
Oh,
Well, what's-
keep,
I don't
keep,
know.
oh, no. Don't do it yet. I want to hear this organically.
No.
organically. Bring us in, Jose.
Okay, so, ladies and... God damn it, every time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. This is After the Hype, where we talk about games that, And here's the thing: I mentioned that I didn't mention it, so they know why I'm mentioning it because you recorded it.
Ah!
Fine. That's fine. That's fine. Your master plan, where we talk about games from yesteryear and see if they're still good after the hype has settled down. I am Jose Gonzalez. My name is actually Jesse, Jesse, joined by Mike.
Hey, what's
Nick?
up?
Nick
I'm
is
Mike.
fine.
No, Nick. Nick is the real one.
Mike.
Spell
Dirty
out
Mike in
N.
the bull. So Nike, you're Nike. You are the goddess of victory, and joined as well again by Cade. I don't know how to spell. I'm gonna guess Caydel.
Close. CADE. Close,
That's
but
I
that's the
actually
guy.
I spelled it Cayde because the first time I encountered the name Cade was in Destiny, and I thought that's how he spelled it. So I just
Yeah,
decided to
Cade
put
6.
it in.
Thanks, man.
Speaking
fuck
of, Destiny Beta is now live on PC for
Yep,
sure.
When I saw that, I knew you guys were gonna be like,
Right, because in the end I did end up fucking pre-ordering it.
Yeah, nice.
I need to load up Battle.net and do whatever
It's
I
the
need
herb.
to do.
I started installing it and then you called for this, so I didn't know if we were doing this or not. So nice.
Oh yeah.
I've been getting into Elder Scrolls Online again. The amazing classic MMO from
2015.
3 years.
Well,
Was it 15?
I
don't
think
remember.
it was either 14 or 15.
I think it was 14 or 15.
I was an early adopter to that. I really was. I bought the collector's edition when it first came out. I've got the book and everything and the cool case, and I was completely let down. I mean, I really went in with my expectations way too high, hoping that it would just be like a multiplayer Skyrim, but that's not what it is in any way. But if you don't go into it with that expectation, and again, it's also not made by Bethesda. It's ZeniMax Online, right?
ZeniMax Online, yeah.
Yeah, so if you don't go into it with a Skyrim attitude, then you can have a lot of fun with that game. It's really well made, and the classes are awesome.
Yeah, the classes are it's really good. Like, it's not Skyrim, which is what everyone wanted, but sometimes it's really hard to do that, and it's difficult to separate your desires from your expectations. Because who doesn't want multiplayer Skyrim? Who doesn't want to like rip shit up on some bandits, man?
Okay, but multiplayer Skyrim, that maybe 2, maybe 4 player, but really that's too much. 2 player Skyrim would be amazing.
I say two maximum, and like make it a like co-op experience. Make it like a drop in, drop out type of multiplayer, like Journey was, where you don't even know who you're rolling with, and I think that would be pretty amazing and very organic.
Just another upset dude shouting at dragons all the time.
Yeah, Moose!
Again, the big problem with that game is like once you go to a location, you complete what's there. Like in Skyrim, for instance, the place kind of lacks character after that. You don't really go back to Rorikstead after you've been there and completed the missions. So if you're playing with other people, that game's so huge. 80 to 150 hours with the expansions and everything. It'd be almost. I mean, you'd have to have a dedicated person playing with you, or
it'd have to be a different type of game, or it would have to be locked. Like your access would have to be kind of like Minecraft, of locked access to this instance of the game with this other person,
right?
And so that the decisions you make, the things you build, because if you cross stuff like Fortnite, where like it's world building, wave based stuff, in like, because if you imagine like the whole Civil War thing in Skyrim, and you have to keep taking the outposts and keep taking them and keep holding them, and do that with somebody, that'd be pretty dope. Because
that would be.
You basically fund the war effort with your sick ass adventures, and they're like, oh, it basically be like Fallout 4, where it's like, oh, we lost another settlement, can you go check that out? Except you're actually invested, and you don't have Garvey, whatever his name is, annoying the shit out of you. And I think that'd be pretty dope, especially if it was locked to another person.
Right.
Like you couldn't like cheat on the other person with the game. And I think that would be a pretty unique experience. And they're actually making a game like that. God, I don't remember what it's called, but it's about a prison break. It looks like it's straight out of the 40s. Looks really good. and it's exclusively. They announced it at E3, and it's exclusively co-op. You cannot play it any other way. And they said you need to play this couch co-op. This is how it is meant to be played, and that was the biggest thing I got excited for. I don't remember the name of the game, and fuck fact checking. We're not doing that.
No.
Yeah, so there you go. We didn't even plan on talking about Elder Scrolls Online, but after the hype, the game's good. I mean, the game's like you can have a lot of fun.
See, I actually went into it like kind of expecting Skyrim, not the exact same thing, because I never played like the third-person mode in Skyrim, but I totally do that all the time in Morrowind, and ESO, and I went into that game. And I was pleasantly surprised on how close it felt.
Oh, yeah.
Because I came in way late, like 2 months ago is when I started late. And with the expansion, I was immediately dropped into Morrowind. And it was like, oh, hey, go here. You have dialogue options.
Oh,
and
that must have been cool.
It was pretty cool. Like seeing the big Strider off in the distance for the first time, whatever the hell it's called.
Stilt Strider.
Stilt Strider, yeah.
And then, like, running around, like, the combat still felt like Skyrim, even though I could tell that the game had, like, this targeting mechanism that wasn't the same.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like a normal MMO in that you're like, select this dude, hit button, wait.
Yeah.
Now, two things.
Definitely gives you... No, go ahead.
Oh, okay, yeah, I was just going to say, so the game's free to play now. Like... That is definitely
Wait, like entirely free to play?
Well, I mean, you buy it, but you don't have to. It's not a subscription based anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought you were talking about like you just go in and download
hold the fuck up.
No. So it's not subscription based, but it was at release. For like 6 months or some shit, and then it flopped. Right, but this is the thing: if you don't pay the $15 or whatever it is subscription to have premium content, the game is like it holds back so much. Like for instance, a crafting bag that is like I would pay $15 a month just for the crafting bag.
That is 100% the reason why I have that. Why I have premium is because the craft bag is so good, and the crafting is so goddamn good in that game.
Okay, but
so
it's
good.
only
good.
Really it's only that good if you have the crafting bag. Because if you don't have the bottomless crafting bag, that instantly everything you pick up that's a crafting material immediately goes into the bag, and anytime you need to craft something, it immediately pulls it out, like magic, if you don't have that, you only have like 60 slots in your inventory, and that's like, 3 different crafting professions worth of collections. That leaves no room for weapons, armor, runes, anything.
Well, then you have to go to the bank, and the bank only has like 80 slots for you, and even then,
So you have to choose which of your collectible crafting reagents you have that you want to throw away. Like, you have to have that crafting bag if you want to play the game.
Yeah, I didn't even do any crafting, and I found out that problem pretty early, because I was sitting there, I was like, why can't I pick up this freaking dagger? It's like, oh, I'm filled up with inventory slots because of crafting materials. And then they were offering the it was like a 5-day trial or something like that for the premium. And so I did that. And when I got that crafting bag, I was like, that's like 90% of my inventory that's not occupied now.
Not in there anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I will say, the crafting is really good, and they do offer bag upgrades. Like gold to upgrade your bags, and then once a day you could pay to have your horse's saddle upgrade the size of your bag by 1. So I mean, there are alternative paths, and if you're willing to put the time in for that, it's worth it. But
there are certainly worse, massively multiplayer online experiences to play.
Oh, absolutely.
And
there's nothing pay to win here. Nothing pay to win.
Oh yeah, it's super gratifying, and I was actually reading an article about this about Overwatch. There's a lot of prestige, like the actual sense of the word, in having certain accomplishments and titles. And the article I was reading was talking about Overwatch, how there's no prestige in the skins because they're random. It doesn't fucking matter. There's nothing to it. You don't earn it. You just get it. And this is the exact opposite in ESO. Like, you can see a dude who's got like, this particular title or has this crown or this buff is level 900, and you're like, God, holy shit, this guy, oh man, like, because they've been humping it. They've been like grinding out this shit, and that's impressive and cool, and it's cool when you interact with people like that.
Oh yeah.
And one thing I've never seen. Honestly, the last time I saw something like this happen was in Skyrim, and it was when it removed all handholding. And this is something I don't know if you guys have done, but in the Dark Brotherhood DLC of this game, once you get to a particular part of it, and for those listening, the Dark Brotherhood is basically a magical like cult of assassins who do the bidding of this death god's work, and so it's like really like grungy and metal. And if you get to this particular part in the storyline for that DLC of the Dark Brotherhood, you get a book called the Litany of Blood. And what this is, or you don't even get a quest for this, it just says, here's this book, go do it. And there's not even a quest for it. There's none. And you read the book, and it gives you instructions, and it gives you 15 targets throughout the game world that you have to find and kill. And with this game's crime and punishment being as severe as it is, you have to be good. And what it does is it gives a brief description of the person without the name, gives the location of the city, and what country. That's it. And there's 15 of them, and there's no waypoints, there's no other hints, there's no other nothing. You gotta go for it.
Wow, that's really cool.
It is really cool. And they give you the tools, the Blade of Woe, this, magical instant, head tap thing, you can kill people, so you don't have to be spec'd for it. So anybody can do it, but it's still this fucking riddle. It's this puzzle. I believe the first one was, I offer she whose I'm saying the riddle, not the actual spoiler. I offer she whose name reflects the stars, as does her dress. She wanders aimlessly, drifting from dance to dance. That's it. That's all you got to go on. And it gives the city, and you go to the city, and there's like 1,000 people, and you're like, fuck, I gotta... And there are guards everywhere. And it's, go, do. And that's all I've been spending my time on in the last 3 or 4 days of playing that game. I have not leveled, I have not done any dungeoning, no raiding, no grinding, no leveling, nothing. Just that. And I've had a blast.
Where can you get the Dark Brotherhood stuff, anyway?
That comes with the Gold Edition, but you can buy the Dark Brotherhood DLC for like $5. It's super cheap.
Or if you do the subscription thing, you get access to all DLC.
Yeah, except for Morrowind.
Except for Morrowind, right.
But the Dark Brotherhood DLC, definitely worth it. The Call of Orgrimmar is pretty good. Thieves Guild is kind of
It's what is it called? It's not Orgrimmar. It's something else.
I think it's the Call of I don't know. The Call of the Revenge of the Orcs of Justice, or I don't know.
Right.
Orgrimmar
is the orc capital in World of Warcraft.
Right.
The Horde capital.
No, Rothgar. That's what it is. Rothgar. I think they call it Rothgar. Sorry.
Okay, there it is.
I'm sorry. I'm getting my orcs used in my fantasy MMOs.
I would excuse you, but I can't. I don't have that power.
They're both places that I never go to anyway.
Oh, ouch.
Oh shit, that's right. I'm pro Alliance. What? Step to me.
Oh, fuck you and your blues. Anyway,
Tavern. But yeah, like there's some real gems in that game, and it's a joy it's a joy to play it, and I have a lot of fun with it. And
nice.
Like every time I step away from it, and I come back, I'm like, God damn, why did I put this down?
Yeah, I probably should give it another look because it's been a while, and if y'all both play it, maybe we can team up or something.
Yeah, we'd have people play with. I'm certainly not good at talking to people online randomly.
Who is?
Right.
So that's the After the Hype. Definitely not deserving of the hype it got, but still pretty good.
Sounds like it's worth it now to check out.
Yeah.
It's cheaper.
That's the thing.
It's more polished.
Now that people's expectations have fallen a bit, and now that people aren't so jonesing about Skyrim, they're not frothing at the mouth to play another Elder Scrolls game. This is a good, it's a good game. It's a good filler until they make the Black Marsh game we've all been wanting.
So, speaking of Skyrim, very, very under the radar, Skyrim was, for the Nintendo Switch, actually made an appearance at Gamescom.
Yeah.
Like, completely under the radar, not announced in any way. And I read a couple of reviews on it, and they said it was running very solid, over 30 FPS with no shudders under 30 FPS on handheld mode in 720p native. So like,
well, see, that's the thing is that the handheld mode is the more efficient way to play it. At least that's what I've seen from Breath of the Wild.
right. So I'm just saying, right now, some of the PS3 and Xbox 360 couldn't always handle that, especially during the combat. So it's doing better than those guys did, and I'm looking forward to see how it goes. I'm gonna get it for sure.
Basically, having better than an Xbox 360 in your fucking pocket is pretty dope.
Right. Yep, absolutely.
Super tablet. That's what it is.
I love it. Yeah. So
what's next on the list, Nick? Keeper of the records.
Well, what do you guys want to talk about? We could go with.
Go ahead and hit on Persona 5.
All right, hell yeah! I've been playing the absolute shit out of this game.
Fat bars.
So, like I said earlier, I'm not going to do any story spoilers because we don't want any of that. Jesse, I know you're going to want to play this. I'd never physically played Persona 4 or any of the other Persona games.
That's right.
I watched someone play the entirety of it, and from what I saw, I think it's similar mechanically. But since this is the first time I've ever played a Persona game, I was pleasantly surprised on just how engrossing it is overall. Because for the combat portion of it, it's a turn-based, just kind of like a JRPG, except it's not a timing thing. You don't have to. You could stop, you could think, you could go through your menus, and the way they actually did the menus is it's kind of an overlay on your character, where you have like a basic action, you can just hit a button, you could hit another button for Persona, hit another button for defend, or like give commands and stuff like that to your other party members. Which you could set your party members to like act on their own, or by default it's you do everything, which I've just played the whole game with I do everything. And there's also a kind of a fast forward combat button where if you hit it, it'll just auto attack until you stop it. Like if you know you're just going to overwhelm an enemy, or you have it set up so there's no fucking way you can win at that point, then that way you can just save the process of mashing X a lot. I played on PS4 or what is it? A, I guess on. Actually, wait, no, I think it's only out. Isn't it only out on X or PS4?
Yeah, it's PS4 exclusive.
Okay, so it's X. Deal with it. And I'm at like hour 100 in this game, and I don't feel like any of that was filler time. I think in order to actually maximize the game, 100 hours is about right for playing it.
Yeah,
I haven't quite finished it yet. I feel like I'm getting close. So I don't know how many more hours I got. But the combat section, it's a bit like if you mixed turn-based JRPG with kind of Pokemon, because you have to you gain more persona as you go on with the game, and they also introduce like fusions and like being able to strengthen persona. They level up, like your individual masks level up, and alongside you. Basically, as you negotiate with them during combat at certain stages, if you get a hold up, which means they're all knocked on the ground because each enemy and your guys have their own like affinities to certain elements, and there's a shitload of them. I think there's like 12 or something off the top of my head. But
yeah, there's a ton of them.
But it's really straightforward because it's not like you have to memorize each and everything like you do in an actual Pokemon game. Because when you could bring up like the enemy, and it'll show you what they're like weak against, strong against, what will reflect off of them. But initially, like the first time you fight one, you have no idea. So you try stuff out, you learn about it. Once you learn about it, then it locks it in, so you don't have to figure it out again. Same goes for your guys. If something hits you, like one of your teammates, with something that they're weak to, they get knocked down. It is possible for your guys to get held hostage, and you have to negotiate out of it. It's pretty rad, actually.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's why I immediately put it into one of the best games I've ever played, and and we're not even done yet. We have the the
whole other half of the game is a dating simulator.
That's right.
part.
The other half of the game where you go to school, you learn things. You're a
high school thug.
That's right. You hang out with your friends. You can date somebody if you want. You form a relationship with the adults and who may or may not be unsavory in the area, as well as teachers and shit like that. And throughout the whole thing, like they actually built the relationship like to have mechanics that affect the combat part, and there's even another sub amount of stats that you have that are just they're 5 things that you can increase over the course of the game, doing a variety of things, like your knowledge, your guts, kindness.
What is there cool? Is there still cool in this one?
It's charm. They don't have cool.
Charm, gotcha.
They do.
cool.
They do
right.
still have the nearly unbeatable eating challenge that you can partake in, and like I remember in Persona 4 they had like what was it, like the meat tornado or something like that, where you had to have all your stats at a certain level, or else you couldn't even attempt the challenge. And they have stuff like that in this one too. A lot of exploration, surprisingly.
I have 2 questions for you, Nick.
Uh-huh.
One, can you romance male characters?
I don't think so. I didn't try though. But based
I didn't think you did.
Based on how the game's presented, and where the current relationship levels of the male homies are, I don't think it's an option for this character.
Gotcha. Mildly disappointing, but understandable. My second question, did you name your dude Charlie Tinoku?
No, I did not.
What did you name?
I just named it after me. I wanted to put myself in the game.
No.
Now, Chuck Tuna did not make an appearance in this one.
I'll tell you. Marissa decided to make her own contribution to the Chuck Tuna and Max Sushi pantheon of superfood heroes. She decided to name her character James Macaroni. Jim Mac for short.
Jim Mac.
Jim Mac Sushi, and Chuck Tuna.
Jim, it's good to have you on the team, man.
Hey, check it's Macaroni. Hey, fellas, how the hell are you?
I'm lost.
It doesn't matter.
Yep, deep cut reference. Doesn't matter. So Charlie Tinoku is the name of a character because someone for the Giant Bomb Quick Look team, a popular video game website, played basically a playthrough, a Let's Play of Persona 4 before Let's Plays were really a thing. And they decided to name the character, first name something totally American, not Japanese at all, so Charlie. And then someone recommended name the last name after food. And they're like, tuna! And someone said, let's make it sound vaguely Japanese. So they changed it to Tinoku. So there's a famous name of Charlie Tinoku, and I will not acknowledge anyone. I will not acknowledge the canon name for the Persona 4 protagonist. I only recognize Charlie Tinoku.
Nice, awesome.
So is the combat where the game became one of the best games we've ever played tonight? Because the combat sounds pretty dope, especially from the negotiating stuff. That sounds really cool. But like, not to be crass, but like, is that it? Is that the thing? Because that's unfortunately not the thing I get to enjoy. Well, I lost a bet, and Marissa's the one that gets to play Persona 5, and not me.
Well, so it's kind of a mixture of all the aspects. Because I wouldn't rate a game a 7 out of 7 if it doesn't have everything up to par. Because that...
And you think Persona 5 is a 7 out of 7?
Yeah, I gave it a lot of thought, and I would legitimately give it that rating. And whenever... I have only rated, like, maybe 1 or 2 games that... Because just the way it flows together, the way all of it interacts with the different sub-stuff and the stuff that goes between the real world and the other world, and everything, how it all just intertwines, and the story, how the characters are fleshed out, what you learn about everyone as the game progresses, and just like how badass you feel throughout parts of the
Cool.
game, then I'd give it a perfect score.
God damn it, dude! That means I can't watch Marissa play that game anymore because now I have to play it.
Because the thing about the combat, which it was one of the sticking points, I just played the whole game on normal. You can adjust the difficulty on the fly. There's easy, normal, hard. There's also this other version where you can't switch it if you select it, and it's basically like, just take me through the story. Don't.
Yeah, it's baby mode.
Yeah, which of course I'm not doing because like being able to tactically think out your turns and like plan what to do to a certain enemy or groups of them in order to win. Surprisingly, physical attacks and gun attacks aren't the same exact element.
Yeah. Dude, that got me excited when I saw they all have guns. Oh, man. They all have guns. All of them. They're all thieves and burglars.
And the way it actually explains how that all works is pretty fucking dope, too.
I want to talk to you about this, because I remember, and that's the thing is, I don't know if you've beaten the game or how recently you started playing it, but when Marissa started playing it, it did the awesome thing, and by awesome I mean not awesome, of starting the game, like, when you're a total badass, and the game is like, at least from what I've seen, the part that she's in is a framed narrative, where he's being interrogated by the police after he's been caught from this whole whatever, and it's like that. I think frame device narratives are dumb. Like, is that something that bothers you? Does it like break out of that? Does it like, how does it I don't know.
It doesn't bother me, but I don't really want to go into it because pretty much talking about any part of that scenario is a massive spoiler. So
Gotcha.
I don't want to like ruin that for you. But as for me,
Word.
I liked it. I don't know. I kind of like that trope. I know you don't, but
it's not that I don't. It's that I've just seen it a lot, and it's just very. I'm just so tired of it. I'm so tired. I'm so sleepy. Well, now I have to play. I'll probably like peek at the screen every now and then when Marissa's playing it, and then probably go back through it and play it on baby mode, and just be like, give me the story. Because honestly, in Persona 4 and 3, the ones I played them briefly. I've always only wanted the dating simulator thing because the characters are super well written. The localization is always great. It's so good. And in Persona 4, the dungeon crawling was pretty good. It was pretty good. And from what I've seen of 5 and what you've been saying, it sounds amazing.
All right. So my recommendation, if you're mostly in it for the story, is play the game on easy because at least start it on easy because you can switch to the baby mode at any time. But a lot like Ninja Gaiden Black, once you do that, you can't switch back. And I think that the combat is because it's fairly challenging in a lot of places on normal, but I wouldn't say it's like impossible. I'd say easy is a good place to be if you mostly want the story, but don't want to have to like really like hone in on all the combat mechanics. So I'd at least try that first.
Gotcha.
But that's pretty much my piece on Persona.
It's 7 out of 7. That can't be topped, man.
Nope.
Jeez. I can only think of a few games you've given it to off the top of your head, and it's like Chrono Trigger, this, and like
right, because Chrono Trigger is my favorite game.
Maybe like Super Metroid, or maybe I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, Super Metroid also would have that.
And for me, it's
I don't even give that to Symphony of the Night.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a very, very few games for me as well, and it's probably like Metroid Prime, Breath of the Wild. Shit, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, like that's.
I don't know, like Modern Warfare 2, maybe.
That's why the scale works that way. So, like, if 7 out of 7
No,
isn't just everyone giving it like a 10 out of 10 all the time.
I might give it to Call of Duty 4. I might.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
That's a tough one because the campaign was amazing and the multiplayer was groundbreaking.
Yeah.
And dude, those characters, that sniping mission, bro, where you're crawling under the tanks.
Dude.
Shot and you pull the dude's arm off from a mile away, and then he slides you the pistol at the very end, and you shoot the guy in the head. Dude!
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. That was pretty awesome.
And then in Modern Warfare 2,
effect
the
into account.
second... Take the Coriolis effect into account. The second, in Modern Warfare 2, the second Soap sees, what's-his-face? Price. After everyone's saying that Price had gone totally rogue and was like a war criminal, Soap turns on the whole team immediately and gives him his pistol and says, "You left this, and I think this belongs to you."
Yeah, the same pistol that he gave to him.
The same pistol that he slid to shoot Makarov in the face.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh. God, those games are so good.
They do have their missteps currently, but
Definitely.
let's see if World War II brings it back.
Maybe.
I'm hoping it does. 'Cause
I'm hoping...
I like Call of Duty. I tried playing Infinite Warfare, by the way. The key word is tried.
Tried.
Because
Yeah.
I didn't really... Well, even the multiplayer wasn't great, but I really care about the campaigns for those games, as stupid as that sounds. And it was, like, unbearable.
Have you, did you play Titanfall 2?
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Titanfall 2 is amazing.
Okay. And that's the thing is... Alright, well, so here's what we gotta do. We have to make a decision here, gentlemen, because I think we have enough time for one game. We can talk about Titanfall 2, or we can talk about No Man's Sky.
Okay, so with No Man's Sky, have we all at least played a little bit of No Man's Sky? Because
I am aware of it. I have followed its development closely. I have not played it.
Because I've followed its development and played it. Cade's played a bunch of it and played it recently after these patches. Cade, have you played Titanfall 2 at all?
I have not.
Okay.
Alright, so let's... No Man's Sky. Cade, lead the way.
Yeah, we know you've been waiting like 2+ weeks to talk about this. So take it away.
All right.
VHS and DVD.
Sean Murray. Sean Murray,
What?
you damn fool. Alright, so I'm going to start with what's happened recently with No Man's Sky. It hit its 1-year mark of being released, and they've released a whole slew of updates that have changed the game dramatically. They've now made it where there's actually solar systems instead of just planets out in the distance that you just put on your warp drive and go off to. And so basically, for anyone who hasn't played the game yet, this is a procedurally generated space exploration game with planetary survival elements built in. And your goal is... There is no goal. Your goal is to explore this procedurally generated thing. They do have a very loose quest line that you could follow again, no spoilers, but basically you could either make your way towards the center of the universe, or center of the galaxy, I should say, the galactic core, or you could follow another quest line that some NPCs basically spoon feed you, which results in a similar thing, heading towards the center of the galaxy. So the thing is that the shortcomings that it had at release, first off, there were so many lies. They lied about there's going to be multiplayer, and Sean Murray, who exactly is Sean Murray? Let's talk about him first off. He's with a game developer
He's
for.
He's the next Peter Molyneux.
Right. He's also the lead face for the public aspect of the whole deal.
Right, one of the directors for Hello Games. And one thing that he wouldn't backpedal on it either. This is the thing. People would ask him a question. Hey, is there going to be multiplayer? Well, yeah, there's going to be aspects of multiplayer. Which technically wasn't untrue, because if you discover a planet, you can name it, and then someone else can visit that planet, and it would be named what you named it. So yes, technically
Someone could go to
multiplayer online.
Fart Butts or whatever.
That name's already taken. You can't use it.
Fart Butts 3.
That name's already taken. You can't use it.
God damn it!
All the fart butts are out there, man. 14 quintillion planets.
I'm headed to the fart butt sector. Who wants to come with?
But then they did get into the lying category, where he's like, technically, if you went to the same place that another player would be, you'd be able to see him and interact with him. But the chances of that happening are so slim, is what he was saying, and that was proved wrong when a few YouTubers decided to.
Yeah, it was day one. They did it.
Came together on the same planet and the same spot, and there was no one there, and it was just like, wow, you're a fucking liar right here. And it did have like a shine to it at first. Like I was like, wow, this is really unique. And then I flew to the same planet, and I was like, another planet, and I was like, well, this is
the same planet.
The same planet. And then I flew to another one. And it's like, okay, the sky's a different color, the ground's a different color, the creatures are, seemingly the same, basically. I mean, slightly different.
Right. Much like any procedurally generated anything, at some point the algorithm starts having like similarities crop up because it's still pulling from the same pool of resources and numbers, so it has to.
And that's
the problem was that. Yeah, it was a ocean's worth of content, but it was a millimeter deep. That was the problem. That was the problem. There's no depth to it.
When there are 1,000 variables that can be skewed in a binary sense, you are going to have one that is one digit away and looks the exact fucking same. And when it's that deep, that becomes that much more common, especially when the intervals and the margins are much narrower than other things. Like a Diablo dungeon being recreated. It doesn't seem like the same thing, but it looks like it. With this, it's like you said, the sky's just a different color, and that's it.
Right, and the release trailer and all the promotional trailers and pictures that we were shown, there were just blatant lies in there, like planetary combat. At first, they had ships flying in space. I mean, in the atmosphere, fighting over top where you're at. They have creatures attacking each other and taking it down, knocking down giant forests and trees, and giant space battles between two fleets just blowing up each other.
That you could join in on.
Right, you could join in and influence how this is. And each ship is the same as each planet. They're unique in their own way. This ship might be more exploration, while this one's geared towards combat. That was all lies. All of it. So, now, a year after, they have finally started to add some of these things. So now you can purchase a freighter, and you could have multiple ships that dock inside of your freighter. You could take place in giant combat now, out in space. The combat in space and on a planet have been upgraded drastically.
So when I played, when I went to space and tried fighting something in space, it was a lot of static cruisers and whatnot that weren't very interesting just amidst the asteroids. And then at some point after I started shooting at them, small fighters appeared, and I could never fucking track them on my screen.
Yeah, so now they'll have like a giant freighter, and it'll have like these pods underneath it. And if you blow up the pods, you gather whatever materials were in there. So there is some lucrative reason to do it. And now the survival aspects have been a little bit toned down. I mean, you could play hardcore mode where there's like more extreme survival aspects, but in this one, it's toned down a bit where you're not always like. Your life support low every 10 seconds.
That annoyed the piss out of me.
Mining laser out of charge or whatever. Constantly. Now, it's a little bit better. You can call your ship to you on a planet now, so you don't have to worry about staying within about a kilometer of your ship. There's a lot of like quality of life upgrades that they've done that I think is quite a bit better. They've also added different planet types now. So in different space stations, you can now build stations on a planet. So you can build like a base on a planet, and you could share that blueprint with other people. If you build a really nice base, you can share that blueprint with other people, and they can build the same base as you.
Okay, that's
and on
cool.
that, yeah. So they have a portal. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So do they have multiplayer now?
So I haven't really looked into that. I've seen a few articles where they talked about, they called it multiplayer light. So I don't know exactly what that means. But I don't believe. Okay, so joint exploration allows for up to 16 players. This is from Wikipedia, by the way. Allows for up to 16 players to explore the same planet and use voice chat and text commands to communicate with others in close proximity. Seeing each other as glowing spheres. So,
What the fuck?
other than that, otherwise you cannot directly interact with these players. They called this an important first step to the world of co-op.
So they're on version 0.4 of the game at this point after a year release.
Exactly. So, other than the multiplayer aspect, they have improved many things. So ships now are geared towards exploration or fighting or being more of a freighter style ship. They have different classes of ships now and different price ranges that those classes go into, like A, B, C, S class, whatever. So, and one thing I really like is you can actually recruit aliens from space stations to come work on your base now. So you could have a base on a planet, and you could have a farming guy there, or whatever. So now there's not just people, other aliens in these space stations that just sit there for no reason other than to talk to you and grunt at you, and you interact with them one time, and then the interaction's done.
Grunt at you.
So
literally useless to you.
So when they're in your base, do they produce things for you or something?
I don't know. I don't have a base, and I haven't had.
I'm not gonna get one.
Moved in, but
I don't believe in bases.
There are, once you get to a certain point in the game, there are missions you could take on from the stations. You can talk to an NPC there, and he'll give you missions. It's kind of like a mission board to do local missions for him. And there's also a portal in there that will transport you to, I guess, a connected adjacent portal inside of your planet that you have a base built on. So you don't have to be like, okay, I built a base here, now I have to stay here. You can have a portal there, and you can return from any space station to your base. So it definitely takes the whole niche aspect off of it. You built something here, now you're attached to that place. It's not like that. It's not like Starbound, where at first, before they added the teleporters, you could, once you built on a planet, you were kind of either give up on the planet and leave, or stay on the planet and give up on the rest of the universe. So now you're definitely, it's much more freeing. But the game still has a long way to go. Definitely do not recommend buying it for full price. It was on sale for 66% off a little while back, and I think maybe it might be worth that. I wouldn't pay more than $15 for the game in its current state.
Is it still like $60?
It's, I can check right now, but I will say that they have made huge strides from what it originally was at, but the problem is what it originally was at was abysmal, and what it is now is still below par for a $60 game release.
So how long was No Man's Sky in development? Do we know?
Yes, No Man's Sky is $60, by the way. Yeah, I
want to say it's been like 3 years.
They released their first teaser in December 2013.
That was close.
Yeah. So it was released.
So it was in development for probably 3 years. I feel like that they could just they could have just added 2 more years to that, because average game development time is 2 years. They already went above it. Why the fuck not extend it? Why not make it 5 years? Why not make it 7 years? And just slam dunk that game.
Yeah, because they made all those promises.
Everybody
was
so excited. Yeah,
I was
and
so
even
excited.
Even if they landed, it's like the old phrase, if you aim for the moon, if you shoot the moon, you'll land among the stars. But in this case, they didn't put any propellant in their rocket, and they fell into the Atlantic. like for Christ's sake, come on.
Do we need wings on this vessel?
Even if they missed the moon and they had got it, out of the proverbial stratosphere, it'd have been an amazing game.
I agree. And, I mean, I think it's almost a good thing that it failed. because it really, like you said, you aim for the moon, even if you miss. It brought a lot of people back down to Earth, and it really allowed them to realize, like, oh my God, this can't continue, because this was just blatantly lied to us for months and months, and some of us even years. So this type of consumer developer interaction cannot continue in its current state. Like,
and see, that's the thing that I think is actually affecting the development of the game Star Citizen.
God, Chris Roberts,
they're being very like not super shouty about the game. They're like, okay, we got a trailer. All right, now we're going away for another year. All right, here's another trailer, so you don't forget that we're still here. Okay, we're going. All right, we'll be right back. And that game has been in development for like 3 years now. And
by the way, for anyone that doesn't know, Star Citizen is just an open world space combat as well as first-person shooter integrated into a dynamic living economy, multi-planet survival type game.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're trying to grand aspirations.
They're trying to blend EVE Online, which is one of the most like staggeringly engrossing MMOs ever, and also impenetrable. And what was that? The shooter one. They had a shooter game that was basically
Dust 514.
Dust.
Dust 514. They're trying to merge those two concepts together in a cohesive, fluid game, and it's grand, and it has me concerned, especially after No Man's Sky. And if the whole like Robert Space Industry thing is doing all this other stuff and they don't get the proper funding for it because No Man's Sky was a lying piece of shit, that's a bummer. Like that ruins the room.
Yeah, especially since it sounds like exactly they're doing exactly what we just suggested No Man's Sky do, which is take several years, make sure it's good. Then, when you drop that shit, you will get that cash.
Like, get some intense funding, show how eager consumers are to the backers, and be like, look, here's the return for this kind of stuff. When people get excited, they get excited, and that's kind of what the whole point of this podcast is to make sure we see when hype is useful and when it's very dangerous. And I think in No Man's Sky, it was extremely dangerous. And is potentially damaging to like the whole genre.
Absolutely, and it's to touch back on Star Citizen. This is from Paul Tassi. It's an article in Forbes. I'll just say from January the 9th, Star Citizen crowdfunding has raised $141 million.
Yep.
Damn.
So
this January 9th, the most recent January 9th.
Yeah, the most recent January 9th. That was in 2017. So just saying that is a seventh of $1 billion. Like
that means shows people still have hope, and isn't the
that's more than some games even have for their entire budget.
Wasn't like
this is
the
problem.
Star Wars Old Republic like a $500 million game.
Oh, yeah. Right. That's an MMO though, and MMOs are notoriously. But this is technically an MMO kind of in a way.
And it's getting up there, and that's just from crowdfunding.
No, so you were about to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say the problem is they say funds raised, right? And this is really dangerous. When you go to their store, it's not called a store; it's called a pledge store. And whenever you buy anything from their store, you don't buy it. You pledge an amount, and they unlock content for you. But you're not actually getting anything. I
was looking at that.
It's very dangerous when you do that, because people have bought these, and I'm not joking here, this is literally $10,000 ships that aren't even in the game yet. They're just pictures. They're just concept art.
Yeah.
And some people have spent literally $10,000 on a spaceship that not only is it going to be fake inside a game, it's not even real inside that game yet.
It's not even fake yet.
Right, it's not even fake yet. It hasn't achieved the tier of fake. It's below that. And it's insane that they.
Here's
Okay, go ahead.
Here's two sides to the coin of that. On the one side, that is an extremely dangerous thing, and that means that some bigwig somewhere looked at Kickstarter as a website and got a real hard rager and said, let's just turn this into a video game. Let's make Kickstarter a video game that never comes out, and we just win all the money forever. That's the worst case scenario. The best case scenario is we're actually in some kind of like meta-developmental stage of EVE Online where the economy of the game and the precedent for real-world money dollars is being set and measured by backers. And like a literal, actual elite 1%ers of this fucking real-world growing economy multiplayer game is being created before the game even comes the fuck out. And that's an exciting and also very chilling thought, because it makes it a bit uncomfortably, though truly analogous to real life, especially from a capitalistic economic standpoint.
Absolutely, and it's this is a couple other things like Star Citizen. When they started getting this funding, they opened up a lot of other branches, other like studios to allow more work on the game. And after a little while, the studios started closing, like right back away. And a lot of the development team that were inside these studios started spilling their guts online, saying Chris Roberts is like wasting tons of this money. He's like renting out yachts and like going on like constant vacations and just blowing money left and right. And the game's not made yet. He'll come in and he has full creative control, and he'll say, this isn't done right. I want it changed. And they're like, well, how do you want us to change it? And he's like, scrap it. And it's like 3 weeks worth of work that he just wants him to throw away. And eventually, people can't work under those conditions. And they're like, fuck this. I'm gone. I'm not doing this anymore. This is ridiculous. And that's what they do. And it ended up forcing some to close, like it's crazy. But I think that No Man's Sky, one thing we should learn from this is that wait till we have proof that what you're buying is what you're going to get.
And
don't ride the hype train.
I think it's a game like No Man's Sky is what forced everyone to start like really, really like aggroing people away from pre-ordering. Like I know, especially on Reddit, it's like vilified if you pre-order anything.
Yep.
And rightfully so, because it just, you vote for your dollar for a thing that isn't fake yet.
Yep. that could be on a t-shirt.
Don't vote for shit that isn't fake yet.
Games just aren't the way they used to be. Like, used to be, you get this nice hamburger, and I've seen the picture, and I don't know
I've seen this picture, I know what you're talking about, yep.
Yeah, fries were the DLC, and the drink was the DLC, and it makes a nice meal. Now, you get the buns, and if you want the meat, that's the actual game. And then, you want lettuce? Well, that's a pre-order. Oh, you want pickles? Well, that's you have to pay extra for that. That's the premium account. You want mustard?
Transaction.
Mustard is a Best Buy pre-order exclusive, and ketchup is a GameStop pre-order exclusive. You can't have both. You got to choose which one you want. So I hate games that lock content behind pre-orders and behind, especially for people who are completionists and they want everything.
Yeah.
Like for me, for Destiny, I pre-ordered Destiny because there's an exotic rifle that I'm thinking you could only get from pre-ordering it. So I pre-ordered it. And there you go. They got my money before the game's out. Regardless of how good it turns out, they got their money. And they don't give a shit after that. That's all they want is the money. They want to give me a good gaming experience. But the only reason they want to give me a good gaming experience is because they want my money in the future. So, like, really, it's so terrible that we're built on just hoping that the developer doesn't decide to fuck us over. That's all we have to do. That's all we're doing is hoping.
With the Kickstarter model, I don't know if you know this, you probably do. Deus Ex Mankind Divided pulled some of that shit with the pre-order. I was like, if enough people pre-order this game, then you'll all unlock this thing, and if you get to this certain amount of money, you'll get this awesome thing. But if you don't, then, well, too bad, you'll never get anything.
But that's... the only time I've ever seen that where I allowed it, like, I myself allowed it to, but, like, gave it a pass, was for, like, really low-level, like, maybe single-A, like, video game development titles, like the Shadowrun Returns games that they have. These are text-based, text-based stories with turn-based strategy in them, based in the Shadowrun tabletop universe, which is cyberpunk, like pink mohawks and katana extraordinaire. And when it came out, it got fully backed by somebody, and they hoped it did well, and it did okay. They did another one. They did Shadowrun
Dragonfall,
Hong
right?
Kong.
Dragonfall.
Dragonfall. Yeah. That's right. And that did a little less. And then when they announced Hong Kong, they said, "Look, our backer is not funding us anymore. We do not have any funding. We need you to back this game. We want to make this game. Here's how it has to work. We don't have," and they broke it down. They literally did business with the consumer. They said, "Here's our model. We can make the game at a minimum for $220,000. It will be a game. If we have $500,000, it will be a kick-ass game." After that, they started breaking down man hours and what the hourly pay was, and who could take vacation when, and who this and that, and medical expenses of people on the team. They said, "Yeah."
When you get to that level,
and they
then I can accept that. But when you're a AAA developer and you have the oodles of cash already,
they did the thing of, if you do this, you'll get a new character. But they broke it down and said, "So here's the thing: we have an idea for a rat shaman character. That's it. No artwork, no background, no frames, no nothing. We calculate it'll take 2 weeks worth of man hours. Here's how much that costs us. Here's how much we need to then make a profit off of that." And it was $10,000. And they said, if we get 10 more on top of this, we will gladly do this. And everyone was like, "Shut up, take another 40 grand. And they said, add 3 more extra characters. So Hong Kong came out, did very well, and capitalized on this business model of literally doing business with the fucking consumer, because they were upfront about it. They said, "Here's our expense, here's our desire, here's our dream. We know you guys love this game. Let us create this for you. Facilitate us to, enrapture you in this world that very few people get to enjoy." And it was awesome the way they did it, because they broke it down. They said, "Here's how much we want to make an hour. With a $220,000 model, we're making $8 an hour. That's not a lot of money."
Yeah, it turns out that being passionate and not lying to fucking everyone is a good business model.
They ask us to our face, don't stab us in the back.
And that's the thing is, they're not making money hand over fist, because in this regard there is no fist. And so that's we could get into economics of American, like, we can get into American economics, we could get into game development, we get real political in this, but that's the state of things. And I don't think it's ever worked where someone made gigantic promises and then subsequently went and spent money before the game came out, because that's what happened to Duke Nukem. And Duke Nukem Forever came out, and that was a massive pile of shit. No Man's Sky is a massive pile of shit.
We could talk about Battlefront.
Well, hold on. Okay, with No Man's Sky, I will say, at release, it was a 1, and in the current state, I'd give it a 3. I'd give it a 3.
A 3?
3.
Okay.
Yeah, because I seriously found myself having fun with it. It's changed, and it's improved across the board. It's improved a lot in some areas and not so much in others, but it is a 3 now. Is it a definitely go out and buy? Fuck no. Do not buy it unless you're spending $15 or less.
It's like you broke up with somebody that was like sleeping on your couch forever, and they weren't even like intimate with you anymore, and they just mooch off you for the rest of your life, and you said you get a job and broke up with them, and then now they're like working full time as a librarian at a local like university. And you're like, okay, that's That's alright, cool. But you're still an asshole, but I'm happy for you.
Not a perfect analogy, but I mean,
it's a weirdly specific analogy.
Has this happened to you? Like, no.
The librarian part is like, well, hold on. Who are you talking
Alright, the librarian at the college. Who are you talking? Hey, do I know this person?
Oh, by the way, I wanted to mention on RobertSpaceIndustries.com, which is the Star Citizen homepage, they have a live stats crowdfunding timeline broke down by hour, day, week, and month to show how much money they're making from crowdfunding still by hour, day, week, and month. So you could look and see, they made $2.7 million last month. Or you could go back a week.
You want to know what that tells me? That tells me that it's not made for us. It's made as a sham for a backer or for like a publisher. And I got really concerned, especially when they brought like Gary Oldman into a trailer. I'm like, how much did you pay Gary Oldman?
Oh, like a video trailer. I was thinking a literal trailer. It's like, what is he doing in the trailer? Like, how's that relevant?
Do you know who they used for the primary mocap and voice acting for the main character in the single player part of the game?
Who was it?
Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill is the Luke Skywalker is the main grizzled leader of Squadron 42. Who it's insane.
Awesome.
They have him.
I like Mark Hamill's voice acting.
Dude, yeah, he's the Joker, right? He's in there in a black leotard with these balls all over him. You know what I'm saying? The little mocap balls all over him. And he's like, doing all kinds of acting and stuff. And it's insane. I want to just wonder how much they actually paid him to do that. Because, he's a superior voice actor.
Yeah,
so,
he's a big get. He's a big get.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. But Mark Hamill, and then also, he's been in multiple trailers promoting the game.
Yeah.
So, I guess we'll see.
It's weird. Weird.
So, just a quick recap. Just a quick recap. I would say, Star Citizen. Don't support it. It's got enough support right now. Wait till it comes out.
Yeah.
Hello Games, No Man's Lie. Excuse me, Sean Murray's Sky. I'm sorry, No Man's Sky. Don't buy it now unless it's on sale. It's a fun game, but if they continue improving it, then I think Hello Games has a future. But if they don't, then I'll never trust the developer again. I mean, even now, I'm not going to trust them until they prove it. So, not worth it. Persona 5. What do you think?
Oh, get it. Absolutely. Even if it's full price, buy it now.
Oh, yeah. It definitely seems worth it. So Nick, I think that's it for our immediate after the hype ratings. What do we got from yesteryear? We got anything prepped for that?
Well, let's see. Yesteryear, 1 year ago was the fucking No Man's Sky thing, but we just talked about that a bunch. We have...
Is it August?
Yeah, it's August. Well, if you want to, depending on how old school you want to go, early in August, August 1st, 1998, I think. 97, Mega Man X4, and the debut of the best worst PS1 voice acting you could possibly get.
Iris, there's no world just for Reploid. It's only a fantasy.
Yes, I know, but I wanted to believe it. I wanted to live in a world where only Reploids exist with you.
Iris! No, this isn't happening! There's no reason for me to go on. What? What am I fighting for?
You ever played it?
I can't say I played it, Nick.
Okay, well, that's what I had listed. If you never played Mega Man, you should do it. I think the X series is better than the classic Mega Man.
Right? Yeah, that I can say I can't agree with. I've never
Well,
been a fan, but X seems dope.
19 years ago, in 1998, Command & Conquer Red Alert Retaliation came out for the PlayStation, the original PlayStation.
There we go.
What?
That's something that I can identify with too. You get the
For the
Command
place,
and
I thought it was PC exclusive.
Well, this is Red Alert Retaliation, so not just Red Alert, but unable to comply, building in progress.
That's right. After you send all the buildings of the Soviets back in time, because that can't go wrong in any way, then they have to retaliate by sending those buildings back to the future and sending your buildings into the past.
Dude, Command and Conquer is amazing. That stuff is so great.
It's so ridiculous.
Oh my god, it's so dumb.
Let's fight dinosaurs with
Amazing.
missiles.
Yeah.
And then for August 30th, Street Fighter, the arcade version, was released in Japan in 1987.
Ooh,
Absolutely.
there's there'd be a classic.
Goddamn Street Fighter. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The arcade version.
Street
That's crazy.
Fighter has plummeted, dude, bro. Oh my god. Like, 2 was the height of that game, and then 3 was. Well, I think 3 was the height of the game. 4 didn't live up to it. What bums me out, and I really wanted 5 to be good, but here's a little factoid for you. The peak, I think the peak time when any, like, the same number of people were online playing Street Fighter V on Steam was like 150,000 people. That was the highest any,
That's a huge amount.
Sum of all people online on this. It is a huge amount of people. That's a lot. But day 1, and so mind you, this is over this year and some change that Street Fighter V had been out. So plenty of time to get this number up nice and high. Day 1, ladies and gentlemen, Tekken 7 opened with 180,000 people.
Oh,
It
wow.
did in a day what Street Fighter V couldn't do in a year, and that bums me out. And that it's interesting to see these 2 mega titan fighting game series wax and wane off of each other, because Tekken's back and Street Fighter is.
It's good to see Tekken back though.
It's great to see Tekken back. That game is awesome, dude. They added free bowling DLC to the game. It's awesome. It's so good. Tekken is incredible.
Really not my thing.
I had to train myself. I had to make myself sit down and play one to enjoy it, and I get it now. I understand them. I'm not good at them.
I feel like they're just so small. It's such a small scope. It's the same thing, just on different. I mean, just you're on a platform and you're fighting, and that's it. That's the entire game. In a lot of these games, anyway. And I mean,
that could.
I know
that's kind of an appeal in and of itself.
Yeah.
Right, that's true. That is true. You don't have to learn about the game. The game is all right there. You just become pro status at that.
That comes down to what, and that's right. You are very right. The scope of the game is very small, but you think about it. So is basketball. Basketball is the same thing every single time, with 12 players and 1 ball, and it can be different every single time, or it can be the same every single time. It all just depends on how good you want to be. And that's the thing is, dude, I bash my head against Overwatch all the time, and it's just, trust me. You want to talk about, beating yourself up for Sisyphean gameplay. If I ever play Attack on Volskaya Industries again, oh my god. Because it's
you're gonna fight
pointless.
the
It's
map
just-
instead of the enemies.
Here we are again. On the worst map in this fucking game. Trying to see if we can... Nope, same thing? Okay, thanks for coming, everybody.
Wait, which one's that?
And
Which map is that?
it's the Russian one, the one that's got all the snow and the mechs in the background.
Oh, is that the one with that bottleneck that is the most annoying ass thing in the universe?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Oh, and last thing, World of Warcraft Legion, the expansion for World of Warcraft came out 1 year ago on the 30th.
Dude, that was really good.
That was a good one.
It's not really good.
up-
It is really good. Still.
I picked up what... Well, the reason why I say was is because I played WoW for a few months before Legion came out, and there were these invasions that popped up all over the place that got people hyped up for it. And they were these awesome, world-class events that would bring everyone around, and they'd show up on your map, and it'd be starting in an hour, and you'd be like, oh, I gotta get all the way across Azeroth in a fucking hour. I could do this. And you'd get there, And the amazing thing about it, I had never seen anything like this from WoW. I've seen it from plenty of fucking other games, but surprise, surprise, WoW is slow to change. Is it was all scaled to your level. So if you were grinding some level 14 character and you wanted to jump in there, get your ass in there. Go have fun. Go beat up on these things. It's like 3-stage invasion, and that is just so much fun because I don't have like prestige level 900 gear to throw against these things. I'm just leveling. I'm level 30 something out of 110 now, and I had a great time with it, and it was awesome. It was this great ad, and I'm told all the rating stuff and all the shit that Legion added once it came out was amazing. So it was great. Legion's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
I missed out on those invasions. I got in too late. I really wanted to try it though.
They're still going. They're still going on the Broken Isles. They're still they're not worldwide invasions anymore. You can't get that achievement anymore. It's a feat of strength achievement.
They should just have these worldwide fucking invasions.
Yeah, maybe they'll do that at some point in the future because it was a very positive thing. Everybody loved it. I loved it.
It was a lot of fun.
One thing I don't like about the invasions, at least a few months ago when I was playing, is they would only run for like 6 hours or maybe even less than that, and sometimes they'd happen at like midnight to 6 o'clock in the morning, or 9 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm at work.
Yeah, it's like yo Blizzard, we have things to do.
Give me something at 8 p.m., bro.
But I mean, other people who work like night shift and stuff, they need that. So I understand appealing to everyone, but World of Warcraft Legion, very good game. But
very good.
Yeah, so that's about it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. We had one good game, Persona 5, one bad game, No Man's Sky. One bad game getting better.
One ass game.
One ass game.
And
then Elder Scrolls Online, which is a pretty good game.
Yeah.
Middle of the road on that one.
Middle of the road, definitely not as good or as bad as Persona 5 and No Man's Sky, respectively.
Absolutely. So, I'll touch back on No Man's Sky as it develops.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We'll probably talk about Titanfall 2, because I know Nick and I are really jonesing about it. We'll probably talk about that next time. But I think that's going to be it for us, ladies and gentlemen, for After the Hype. Remember, don't pre-order games. Don't Robert Space Injuries. Stay away from them, and invest in the avocado. Apparently, it's a big new thing, and millennials love it. I don't know. I'm not the boss.
Avocado toast.
Bye, everybody. Fuck avocado toast. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Laters.